closet to see who it was. Whoever's there, thinking about all the boogeyman stories I had heard as a child. And soon, I realized I was right to be so, because the man that stepped out of the closet was not Jeff or anyone I knew. So I tried to scream and run away, but he caught me and covered my mouth. I struggled to get out of his grip, but he was so strong. After a while, I stopped struggling. So he slowly let go of me and whispered, "If you scream, it will not be good for you or your family." "I'm gonna tell my parents about you," I said, trying to threaten him. But he threatened me instead, saying he had been hearing and seeing all the things I had been up to since a year back when we moved in. "How about I tell your parents about stealing, sneaking a boy in, and your plans to run away?" he said as if he knew all my weaknesses. I didn't say a word after that, but he kept on talking. "You stay out of my business, and I'll stay out of yours," he said, and went back inside the closet. But he didn't stay out of my business at all. He took full advantage of my helplessness and made me do all his laundry, cook for him, and bring him food. It was torture for me, but he was enjoying it. In addition to that, I couldn't sleep at night because I was freaked out by the fact that there was a man living inside my closet. It was creepy. So I tried calling my friends for help because I needed to do something about it, but none of them answered my calls. Not even Jeff. I kept on calling and left multiple texts, and only after a few days I got a text from a friend and it read, "You're a loser, we were just using you to get money, and Jeff is with another girl. Bye." I was so devastated. I didn't know what to do, and I felt like I was being punished for not obeying my parents and lying to them. So, after many sleepless nights and the helplessness, I went to my parents and told them everything I had done, and about the man living in my closet. They immediately called the police, who arrived in no time and arrested the man in the closet. You wouldn't believe who that man turned out to be. He was the disowned son of the previous owner, who was useless and...
It's the next day. It's my second day of vacation. I'm in the bloody tennis area in the hotel.
Looking at Sandra. I think I should
Let's chill, relax, and
said.
smoke some
No,
weed, I
don't.
guess.
Let's just go to my room. Maybe Megan wants to watch TV, I said. I got up,
That
bloody... ensuring to slam the door so she'd get the point. What had gotten into her?
What was
the next day, Megan was
it?
gone before we woke up. Sandra laughed and got her room sorted out, and I tried not to think
That
too much about last
bloody,
night's
that
experience.
room service
When I
girl,
got back to the apartment later, Megan greeted me
she
at the door
didn't
with a
want
smile.
to.
"Hi, Colin. I'm sorry about what
Because
happened last night.
she said
I've done something to make it up
she
to
could
you.
get fired, so fair enough,
She took
I
me to the
guess.
dining table where a beautiful candlelit dinner
Even
was
though
set
I
up.
reckon
It
girls
was okay though.
should
I
obey
figured
their
you were probably
master,
in one of your moods. You didn't have to do.
it's not actually like that, so yeah. So I don't care if I meet a girl in the street and fuck her in the room and show her who the master is, but if she works where I live or something like that, then I do care because she could get fired. So yeah, like, you know, so, you know, fuck it. Let's chill, smoke, watch YouTube.
All of this, I replied while stuttering because I felt extremely uncomfortable. "Yes, I did. Please sit," she said. I sat down and began to eat. I could never turn down food. Midway into the meal, Megan said, "Colin, there's something I need to tell you." "Huh? What is
I'm
it?"
pregnant.
I managed to say through a mouthful of food. "I have feelings for you. Romantic ones. Like, ever since I met you at the Student Services Center, I felt that we had a special connection." About her. The way she combed her hair.
Let's watch TikTok. Why the fuck not, dude? Let's watch fucking TikTok. Why the fuck not? Do I have to download TikTok? Let me guess. If I do, then I'll just watch YouTube until I download it. So, yeah. Yeah, I think I do have to download it. Okay, Play Store. Where is the Play Store? Here. TikTok. There we are. TikTok. Install, yes. What video should I watch on YouTube? Yep, it's finished the TikTok. Installing. Okay, cool. Yep, I would agree. Skip. Here. Here. Sign me up, dude. Sign me up.
Hey there, human. If you're stumbling across this video on TikTok, you can probably scroll past it, or perhaps save it for later in case you should need it. If you received a direct link to this video, it means that the person who sent it to you has rejected you. Sorry for your luck. Try not to be too butthurt about it. It's hard to say why this happened exactly. It could be because you creeped him out a little bit. It could be because you
Me, the only alpha male on TikTok, broke in your house. Give me a second. Give me a second. He called himself an alpha male. I like it when comedians break in and tell me jokes. Me. All right. These are a few unwritten rules. Hey, you! Oh, hell no. I knew you were not about to scroll right past me. You see that plus sign? Give it a click. Find out what you've been missing. There you go, darling. Welcome to the freak show. Oh, hell no. I knew you were not about to scroll right past me. You see that plus sign? Give it a click. Find out what you've been missing.
Dad.
I live my... Cooler, yo, back. Bro, what's up with these YouTubers and TikTokers trying to fight? Fake fighters.
I ain't no YouTuber. I don't consider myself a motherfucking TikToker. I'm a motherfucking big fella. You and your brother wanna fucking go? Let's go, motherfucker.
Bro, what's up with... Do me a favor, like this video. Some people tell me that I need help. Some people get fucked up and go to hell. Just damn when they criticize me now. Some people tell me that I need help. Boy, when it comes to essays or more...
This is how you can help your favorite creator go viral. Number one,
So we all know the upside down.
You know what that they call it?
I will fight every demon in your head. Just for you to smile. I will.
All right, I'm looking for new friends. Here the co-
Help me! Help!
Hey, man, get off of me. Oh, shit. I forgot I was black.
Help me! Help!
Hey, man, get off. Oh, shit. I forgot I was black.
Hi, this message isn't actually for you. It's for that little voice inside your head that calls you names and says awful things about you. Hi. That's my friend you're talking about. Stop it.
We've been awake for 15 minutes and you... We've been awake for 15 minutes and you've told me that you're gonna kill me and I've called you a bitch 5 times. Can you tell we've been best friends for 15 years? We've been awake.
Scroll if I am ugly. Oh wait, you're still here. Since you're here, I have something to tell you. What do you like about me that you stay? Can you get me one more favor? Can you look at the sound? Scroll.
I don't care. No one can...
If I watch your video and I like it, not only...
Oh my God. People like you make me fucking sick. Like I just want to fucking throw up.
Yo, if I broke in your crib right now and rolled up a nice fat blunt, what would you do? What would you do? What could you do? Yo, if I...
Let's see if people react.
Yo,
Yeah.
if I broke in your crib right now and rolled up a nice fat blunt, yo, if I broke in your crib... Yo, if I broke...
Let me try.
Yo, if I broke in your crib right now...
Nope, okay.
Hey guys, TikTok keeps fucking deleting my video, my last post. I'm not sure why. I was smoking a cigarette and
They keep taking it down for drug use, but it was, sorry, it's just a cigar, not a cigarette, it was a cigar, so, I don't know, whatever. But the video was, just so you never know, the first episode of my new podcast, The Sit Down, is out on YouTube now. The link is in my bio to the first episode of my new podcast, so go hit the link. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I appreciate everybody that has become a viewer and enjoying the first episode of my new podcast, The Sit Down. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the YouTube, and the link is in my bio. Next one dropping in 10 days. Thanks, legends.
You're not black. Don't call me sis.
You ever have one of those moments where you just go, I should start a cult just to see if I can do it, you know?
Yep.
Followed immediately after by, maybe I should just take my meds. You ever have one of those moments where you just go, I should start a cult just to see if I can do it, you know?
It's been a month, and my mum and my dad kicked me out. So, I'm living in the hood in Rush Heaven. This is my place, basically. My area now. I'm living in the hood, basically. So, yeah. My first day at high school in the hood is not tomorrow, but the next day. So, actually, no, I forgot. It's tomorrow. Fuck, what am I saying? It's tomorrow. Fuck, dude. Let's chill, watch YouTube.
Found instead of adapt, but I shook it off and continued with the next question. How did my biological parents die? I asked. There was a slight pause.
Let's
My
have a
parents seemed to
join.
be thinking of a response. In a car crash. It was a terrible thing, they said. Steve looked up at them, then at me. His eyes were widened in shock. They're lying. I looked at my parents in disbelief. What? No, that can't be right, said Mom. This thing must be rigged. I can assure you it's not, said...
Welcome to the Drop on Malbec. Most of this variety comes from Argentina. It's really smooth, rich, and often...
said Steve. Are my real parents even dead? I asked. Yes, they are, Tom. Why would we lie about something like that? Steve sounded defeated as he said, You're lying. Again. I turned on my parents in fury. I can't believe you would lie to me, I yelled. We're not, darling. How can you trust some wonky device over your own parents? But that's the thing. You're not my real parents. I stormed out of the room, rushing out the door and back in.
Let me show you in my new place. See, look. Here is the lounge room, kitchen, dinner table, and then a bedroom. There's only one bedroom. And of course the bathroom. Nothing special, it's just like a normal place. It's not like my mansion, but it would do. So yeah. Look at this place. It's crappy, but it's okay. Because nothing I can do whatsoever, dude. There is nothing I can do. Eventually. Let's, buddy, head out now, I guess. So yeah. That my house looks like inside. It looks crappy out here, but inside, it's good. It's only one story though. So yeah, as you can tell before. So yeah, those windows up there, another apartment basically. So yeah, all housing commission, all projects, whatever you want to call it, or condos, whatever you want to call it, dude. So, yeah.
To our car. I didn't even want to complete the lie detector test. I was too livid over what my parents had done. My parents said the device must be faulty,
smoke
but
some weed,
I had a
and watch
feeling it was
YouTube.
reliable. So that meant my biological parents...
It's the next day. I'm at school, as you can see. It's my first day here at the high school in the hood. So, yeah. Let's chill, smoke, and watch YouTube.
But that didn't make...
Strike gold with Aldi Mobile's award-winning plans.
My husband is always telling me that I need to stop overcommitting. I've got too many things going.
make any sense. My parents weren't my kidnappers, right? But then I thought about the lie detector test and the strange behavior, and it all started to make sense. The random moves, the shifty behavior, the lies. Was it all because they were trying to hide me? Just as the news anchor was about to go into more detail on the case, I heard a noise behind me. I turned around, and there were my parents, standing in shock, anger plastered on their faces. They were furious, and the looks on their faces were so terrifying. They took one look at each other, and understanding seemed to pass between them. I was so fearful of what they would do to me. I didn't even know them anymore. My parents, well, no, not my parents, my kidnappers, dragged me into the basement and locked me inside. I was a prisoner. I banged on the door, begging them to let me out, but they didn't reply. For hours, they didn't say anything. Then, hours slipped by, and suddenly it was night. I thought I was going to be a prisoner for the rest of my life. But then, I could hear someone outside. It was the guy from the lie detector test facility. It was Steve. What was he doing here? I thought I heard him ask my kidnappers where I was. An idea lit up in my head, and I rushed to the underground window that every basement has and started rattling on its surface. I kept knocking, hoping Steve would hear, and sure enough, he glanced over and saw my face. My parents realized Steve had seen me, and they pounced on him. I looked out the window, desperate to see what was going on. Then, I spotted Steve bolting into the woods away from the cabin. What was he doing? For hours, nothing more happened. I thought I had been deserted. Hadn't he realized I was imprisoned? But then, a sound echoed in the forest. That's when I realized it was police sirens. I was saved. The police arrived and arrested my parents. They didn't even bother trying to escape. There was nowhere to escape to. I waited in the basement for the police to let me out, but when they opened the door, my real parents stood there. They had tears in their eyes and told me they had missed me so much. I was still hesitant. Yes, they were my real parents, but I didn't know them. For 15 years of my life, I had grown up with my kidnappers raising me. But then they said they wanted to take me away from this horrid place, back to Thailand, and I could live with them if I wanted to. I thought about it for some time, but then I decided I would. It was weird, as I didn't know them, but we're getting closer and closer every day we spent together. Steve actually became a close family friend. I asked him why he had been at the cabin that night, and he said he had followed us back home immediately after he saw the news story.
Thanks.
But he had taken longer than he thought because apparently my kidnappers
barely gave me a glance. I picked up my sandwich and grabbed a Coke
Here.
from the fridge. I
You
like this
could
in
do
my
the
room,
smoke.
he said. Paul just nodded. He was probably happy not to look at my sulky face. I went up to my room and sat in front of my computer. I opened Photoshop and began to work on a photo of Mom and Helen. It didn't take me long before I was finished. I looked at the photograph now and smiled to myself. Perfect! I had managed to Photoshop a good-looking man
how
into the place
come
where
you're
Helen
here?
was sitting, and it made
The
it look
same.
as though Mom was kissing him. Now, all I had to do was make sure Paul saw the photo. I heard the door open and Mom came into the house.
Like, oh.
Hi, darling, said Paul. Did you have fun with Helen? Yes, we had a lovely time, said Mom. We're planning to meet up again.
All of our brothers and
Really
sisters
early.
got
I had
kicked
set my
out
alarm
like
because I needed
you.
to get up before Mom and Paul
Now I'm
woke up. I ran
living
downstairs
on my
and looked around
own.
the kitchen for Paul's car keys.
Fair enough.
Eventually, I saw them on the table. I grabbed them and went out to the car. I put the photo on the
So,
passenger seat
how
and
do you
locked my
page
door.
now?
I rushed back inside and put the keys back where I had found them. I could hear Mom's alarm clock ringing. I jumped back into bed and pretended I was asleep. I heard Paul shout goodbye as he left to go to work.
6
I
years
smiled
old.
at myself. I wonder how long it would
Nice.
be before he saw the
How
photograph.
old are
Well, I
you?
didn't have to wait very long to find out. I
15.
went downstairs and saw Mom
Cool.
sitting at the kitchen table. She was holding her phone and crying. As
Then
I walked into the
maybe
kitchen, she looked up
fuck
at me and
off of this
sobbed. Paul is
page.
finished with me. He thinks
Sure.
I've been cheating on him. I would never do
Isaac.
that. Why would he think that? feel sorry for her. It's all because of me, I finally
Let's have a
told
joint
her.
and
I
a
admitted
smoke.
to photoshopping the photo of her and Helen.
Dan
Why would you
Isaac.
do that? Asked Mom. Why would you
Can
try
I
to ruin
nut
my
in you?
relationship? Because you cheated on Dad,
Sure.
I said. He's a good, kind man and you betrayed him. Mom just looked at me sadly. Amy, I never wanted to tell you this, but now I see that I have to. The reason I left your dad is because he is a really bad guy. He's the head of the mafia. I looked at Mom in shock. What was she talking about? No, he isn't. He owns an orphanage and does so much for everyone, I shouted. The orphanage is just a cover for all his illegal activities, said Mom. No, it isn't, I replied. I have the evidence, said Mom. Paul was the one who saved me from a terrible marriage. He showed me the proof that your dad...
It takes a little longer to get to the best spots, but it's always worth it.
Damn,
the moment
you have a
realise
fucking fat
you'll be
ass.
right.
Your ass got fatter since we washed Matt in the fuck.
Your dad is a criminal and a
Yep.
really bad guy. I ran out of the kitchen and up to my room. It couldn't be true. My dad would never be involved in anything illegal. He was an honest man who did everything for everyone. I decided I was going to do my own investigation. I would never believe it unless I saw the proof myself. The first thing I needed to do was to follow Dad to see what he got up to. The next day was Friday and Dad came to pick me up for the weekend. As we drove to Dad's house, we chatted and Dad told me that he had to work on Saturday. Will you be okay while I'm at the orphanage? He asked. Of course, Dad, I said, smiling. This was my chance. I was going to follow Dad and see if he really went to the orphanage or if he was doing something illegal. The next morning, we had breakfast together before Dad set off to work. You can invite Lola over to keep your company if you like, he said. Yeah, maybe later, I replied. I've got some work to do anyway. The orphanage was only 10 minutes from Dad's house. Dad always rode his bicycle there. He said that it was good exercise for him and good for the environment too. I gave Dad a few minutes head start and then I got my bike out of the garage and set off after him. It wasn't too long before I could see Dad in the distance. I slowed down a bit. I didn't want to risk Dad seeing me. I followed Dad for the rest of the day. He spent most of the time just
Damn,
working
you
at the
have big
orphanage. He
tits.
left a couple of times to buy
You got
some
bigger
things from a
tits.
hardware store and to
Yep,
get a sandwich
I
for
know.
lunch. He definitely wasn't getting up to anything sinister or illegal. He even stopped to give some spare change to
I
a
can
homeless
see
guy
your
on his way home.
panties.
My dad couldn't be the head
Yeah,
of a mafia
I
gang.
know.
I knew it couldn't be true. But that evening, as I sat in my room, I couldn't help some feelings of doubt creeping into my mind.
So,
I switched on my
Paige.
computer and spent
Yeah,
the next
brother?
couple of hours scouring the internet. I was looking for anything I could find that could possibly
Gonna
incriminate
go
Dad,
out?
but there wasn't anything. Every
So,
single
Paige.
post about Dad was praising him, saying about all the good things he did for the
Cool.
community.
You-
It was so weird. How could Paul have found some evidence to show Mom if I couldn't? I knew what I had to do. I was going to confront Paul. When I got back to Mom's house, I called Paul. Can you meet me at the park today, Paul? I asked him. He sounded a bit surprised to
Can I
hear
call
from
you
me, but
Daddy?
he said he would meet me. When I got to the
Sure.
park, I saw Paul
Thanks,
sitting on a
Daddy.
bench. I sat down next to
You're
him.
welcome.
He looked at me and waited to see what I had to say. I just want to ask you one thing, Paul, I said. What proof do you have that Dad is the leader of the mafia? Paul looked at me and laughed. Oh, Amy, you silly thing. I just made that story up. I knew your mom would never want to date me if I didn't make up some lies about your dad. I looked at Paul in horror. You ruined my life and made me hate Mom, I cried. I ran home straight away. Paul laughed as I ran, but he had no idea of my secret plan. When I got home, I
You
pulled out my
know, this
telephone
is
and
only
pressed the
one
play
night
button. It
stand.
had worked. I
Or
had a
whenever
recording
I
of
get
Paul admitting to
horny
everything
again.
he had done. Now I
Even
just
though-
needed to put the rest of my plan into
Yeah, I
motion.
know.
I called
Even
Dad
though
and asked him to meet
we're
me in
going
the Italian
out,
restaurant in town at 7 o'clock. Then I went downstairs and spoke to Mom.
you'll
I'm just
let
going to
me
the shops,
fuck
Mom.
other
Can you
guys
meet me at the Italian
until
restaurant
you're
at 7
horny
o'clock so we
again.
can have dinner together? Sure, said
And
Mom.
yeah.
I got to the restaurant just before
Yep.
7 o'clock. A
And you
table
let
for
me
3,
fuck
please,
other
I said to the
girls.
waiter. I sat at the
Down,
table and waited for my
Daddy.
parents to arrive. They both got there
Can
at
I
the
call
same
you
time.
senpai?
What's he doing here? Asked Mom.
Sure.
What's she doing here?
Love you,
Asked Dad.
senpai, Daddy,
Sit down, both of
brother.
you. I want you to listen to something, I said. I played them the recording of Paul's
Love
confession.
you too,
They listened and looked at each other,
sister
startled.
Paige.
Mom spoke first. I've been so stupid,
Can
she
you
said.
make me
How could I have
gag
believed him?
my-
It's not your fault,
With
said
your
Dad. I
dick
tricked you.
when
I've
you-
missed you.
when I
I've
give
missed you
you
too,
a blowjob?
whispered Mom. Dad pulled her towards
Daddy?
him and gave her a hug. Everything was
Sure.
going to be fine. Mom and I packed up our
Thanks.
things and moved back to our house in the countryside. My life was perfect once again.
Hi, my name is Amanda. I'm 35 years old and I'm originally from Australia. I know I may not look like I'm a 35-year-old woman, but trust me, that's the truth. I'm also a secret spy, and I've been working undercover to... Okay, no, that's not true. You've probably guessed that. My name isn't Amanda. I'm not 35 years old.
We're
I'm
doing
not
the fuck up.
Australian.
My place
real
or
name
yours?
is Lily, and I am 16
My
years
place.
old. That's the truth. You're probably probably
Cool.
wondering why I just started lying to you for seemingly no reason. But let me tell you, there is a reason. There is a reason why I can only lie, and I can't tell the truth. But first, we have to start
Love
from
you,
the
baby
beginning,
brother.
to where it all
Love you
began.
too,
But
baby
before I
sister.
go on, make sure you like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. If you do, you will get 5 years of good luck. Trust me, it really works. And I'm not lying about that. When I was very young, I suffered from a traumatic experience that caused me to only lie. It triggered something in my neurological system that led me to only lie. I literally cannot tell the truth. There's something about the truth that just makes me disgusted. I hate telling the truth. It sends my nerves on edge. So that is why I always lie. You're probably wondering what kind of traumatic experience could cause such a response. While my parents had escaped to who knew where, when I told the police what had happened, they almost couldn't believe that my own parents would sell me. I couldn't believe it either. I was put into foster care. Ever since that moment, something changed in my head. I closed off from my surroundings. I went back into my shell. I trusted no one. I was never adopted by a family because I just wasn't a friendly girl, and I told lies all the time. About little things, too. Sometimes I would tell my foster family that I had seen a squirrel in the tree when I hadn't seen anything. Other times I would lie about bigger things, like saying that I was lactose intolerant when I wasn't at all. No one could understand why I kept lying. I lied and lied and lied, and there was no reason for it. But then one of my foster parents called a therapist to take a look at me, and eventually they figured out why I kept lying all the time. It was because of my parents. As I've already explained it to you, it was because of the selling incident. The therapist tried to treat me to help me overcome my mental illness, but it didn't work. I just kept lying. I thought I would never be adopted by a family. I believed that I would have to drift from foster home to foster home for the rest of my life. But then, one day, a couple came to my home. I remember spotting them through the window, and I thought they looked really nice. When they entered the house and waved hi to me, they smiled and waved back. I really liked the look of them. The woman walked up to me and spoke. "Hi there, what's your name?" "Caroline." I lied. My foster dad suddenly appeared. "Lily, what did I tell you about telling lies?" he said. Then he looked apologetically to the couple. "Sorry about that. Her real name is Lily." "Hi, Lily," said the woman. After that, we got chatting, and I immediately liked them. They were so funny, and they didn't seem to mind my habit of lying. They visited for about 2 hours, and then by the end of it, they asked me a question that would change my life forever. "Lily, do you want to live with us as a family?" they asked. My heart welled with excitement. "Yes," I thought. But then, before I could stop myself, a lie came out of my mouth. "No," I said. I started to shake my head in embarrassment and tried to tell them that I actually wanted to live with them, but the couple seemed to understand. We hugged and I started crying because finally I was going to have a family again. Fast forward 7 years later, and I was living happily with my adoptive parents. I didn't really remember my biological parents since it was so long ago, and I didn't want to remember them. They had abandoned me, and they're the reason why I can only lie and can't tell the truth. Meanwhile, growing up with my condition had been interesting, to say the least. I lied about everything. It was hard for me to find friends, because who wants to be friends with a liar?
I have to go,
Sometimes when boys
okay?
asked me out, I would tell them I liked
Oh,
them,
good,
when
see
in
ya.
reality
See ya.
I didn't. And when I actually liked a boy, I would tell them I didn't like them.
As you can already tell, it's the next day, and I'm back in school with my other sister. So yeah, her name is Kirsty, and she is 8 years old. So yeah, her name is Kirsty and she's 8 years old. Here Kirsty, here's a joint of smoke. Thanks. Retort YouTube.
Oh, you're just in time. I need you to watch your baby sisters. Your dad is not back yet, and I'm going on a date, she said.
Gonna
What?
maybe
I screamed. My eyes
go out?
bounced out of my head. A
Kirsty?
date, it's like a thing people go on
Sure.
to get to know each other.
Cool.
Romantically. You've never had one? She laughed.
You wanna fuck?
I didn't know what to say.
Yes?
She put
Cool.
on a tall pair of high heels I didn't even know she had, then went to stand by the door
You're a
nervously.
fucking fat ass, by
After
the
about 10
way.
minutes, the door doorbell
Well,
rang.
your eyes
She
got
opened the door
fatter.
quickly, and I gasped
I know.
at who was standing there. It was Mr.
And your
Lewis, my
tits
math
too
teacher.
got fatter,
He had
got
brought her
bigger.
a huge bouquet of roses.
Yep, I know, right,
"Hello,
baby?
darling," he said. She took the roses, and he kissed her on the cheek. "What the
Can I
hell?
nod on you?
Mom, you're going out with him? My elephant dung math teacher," I said. I wanted to break something. "No, listen here, you little...
Sure.
Have some respect for Roger.
Baby
Don't
brother.
make me angry.
Thanks,
Now,
baby
go look
sister.
after your sisters.
You're welcome.
Make sure they're in bed by 8. Oh, and put these flowers in some water. Good night," she said sternly. As she walked out with Mr. Lewis, he turned back and winked at me.
Can you make me
There was a
gag
wink
and
that
choke
said,
me?
I'm
Sure.
getting you back for everything you did today, you awful little brat. This was why he said nothing to me earlier. He knew what he was going to do. What am I going to do now? I thought. After I put my little sisters to bed, I stayed in the living room watching TV. The front door opened and my dad came in. "Hey, buddy," he said. "Hi, Dad. Where were you?" I asked. "I had a lot of work to finish up at the office. Where's Mom?" "She went on a date," I said while rolling my eyes. My dad looked devastated. "Okay, well, I hope she has a good time," he said, then walked up to his room looking like someone had just dropped a piano on his head. I felt sad for him, and it hurt to watch my parents' marriage fall apart like this. I had to help them stay together somehow. The first step would have to be to get rid of that awful elephant dung math teacher. But how? I really didn't know. The next few days
Can
were
we
awful.
fuck at your
My mom
place?
had a date with Mr. Lewis almost every night.
Kirsty?
My dad and I became sadder and
It's
sadder,
Paige.
but my mom was always
And
happy.
yeah, sure.
She made our favorite meals and
Thanks,
always had something
Paige.
positive to say.
You're welcome,
She
baby
paid more
brother.
attention to her appearance, too. She always did her makeup and wore the nicest clothes. I continued getting into trouble at school, and the principal kept calling, but she didn't seem to care anymore. I've got to figure something out, I thought.
Love
I decided that
you.
I'd talk to Mr. Lewis after math class.
Love you too,
The next
baby.
day, I did
Baby
just that.
sister.
But first, I was a perfect little angel in his class because I realized that I needed him on my side for this to work. I walked up to him after everyone had left the classroom. "Excuse me, can we talk?" I said. "Sure, bud. What's up?" He smirked. "It's about my mom." He smirked again. "Ah, the lovely Sarah." "Yes, well, the thing is, I don't want my parents to get a divorce. My dad really loves her, and we were at no fight in school. Remember our deal?" he said, then walked away. In class that day, I did everything he asked. He wanted me to rearrange the furniture, clean the blackboard, fix some charts, and tell everyone to be quiet. Surprisingly, they listened to me more than they listened to him. After I sat down, he began teaching, and I had to answer every single question he asked. I did so correctly. Everyone was surprised, and to be honest, I was too. I know I was smart. For the next few weeks, I followed Mr. Lewis around everywhere. I carried his books, brought him coffee, and did anything else he asked me to do. My mom and dad started getting closer, so I decided I wouldn't stop. I just had to continue being the teacher's pet. My classmates found this hilarious, though. At first, they thought it was one of my antics, but after the third week, they began to lose respect for me. They talked to me like I was some nerd, and that all became worse after Harvey challenged me to a fight. "Hey, teacher's pet, you've become such a loser. I didn't show up for the fight. "Spanish teacher, look at this," I screamed. She ran towards me. "Look at what your darling Roger is doing," I said while showing her the picture. She looked sad for a while, then said, "Well, your dad and I are trying to work things out. Didn't I tell you? So it's okay if he does that. I don't mind." I was so relieved I could have cried. The next day, I threatened Mr. Lewis. I told him that if he didn't do everything I said, I'd show the picture to the principal and he could get fired for inappropriate conduct at work. So right now, I'm not the teacher's pet anymore. In fact, Roger is now the student's pet. My pet. It's great.
Hi, my name is Dolly, and I'm kind of having a hard time in school nowadays. Why? Because I called the police on my teacher, the cool guy every student likes. So my classmates are a bit mad at me. Well, not a bit mad, a lot mad. And I don't think they'll go back to liking me anytime soon if I have to be perfectly honest. Let me tell you all about how this happened, and why I decided that the cops needed to get involved. I'm not a snitch or anything like that, but someone had to say something, you know. Anyhow, let's start from the very
Let me
beginning.
guess,
My
he's
school has
fucking
always been
underage
kind of dull,
student.
if I have to be perfectly honest. It was boring, and
If it was a
nothing exciting ever
woman,
happened. No big rallies, no big parties being busted.
It'll be
no kids
okay,
that got
but
ever
men?
in trouble. But before we
No.
move on, like this video, hit that subscribe
fuck's
button
sake.
and activate the notification bell. This will let you live 20 amazing years longer. Trust me, it works. Sure, there were a few bad apples, and they went to the principal's office often, but that was it. Other than that, most of the kids there were super normal, and the teachers were all old and boring. Nothing that would ever catch anyone's attention. Now, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I liked it that way. I liked my small town and my friends. I liked the way everything seemed so sleepy and calm. It was pleasant and wholesome, just like my parents taught me life should be. You see, my dad is a minister and my mom is a vet, and they both are super kind and charitable people. They always try to find the best part of everyone they meet and believe with all their hearts that all people deserve a second chance.